the whole crew's in the video, hence the posse. But being that you had seen the square dance rap success, what difference for you and for Mix-a-Lot and for the crew, for Nasty Mix, everything, did the My Posse on Broadway video have with the momentum of what you guys were doing?
Well, I tell you, one of the reasons why we put that out as a single was not only did I get a lot of calls for it off the request lines, playing it off a cassette tape, but I told Mix and I told Ed, I go, hey, man, who has the biggest Broadway in this whole wide world? And he go, New York? Bingo. And New York was the market we all wanted to break because we're from the West Coast, you know. And at that time, no one in New York would support us. I even got dissed by some of the big DJs there saying it's only going to hit in Seattle. But the only ones that really supported our records in New York were the college stations. And I'll never forget Hank Love, Half Pint on, was it WNWK, I think, The Awesome Two, and Chuck Chill Out. He wasn't on commercial radio yet. And they would support my records, you know, they would play it on their show. But other than that, man, no one showed us love in New York. And I thought, well, since we have the biggest Broadway, you know, Posse on Broadway, they would be the ones playing it. But the next thing I know, Broadway in Philadelphia was playing it. Broadway in Atlanta was playing it. Broadway in Atlanta. Everyone that had a Broadway was playing it. And I think we really realized we didn't really need New York when we were flown up to do a show in Philadelphia for Power 99. I remember John Mons was the main guy there, and Colby Cole was just an intern, and now he's big time now. And I even got him a Nasty Mix jacket when he was just an intern. You know, he'll never forget that. But I remember being in Philadelphia, whole new environment, and then turning on the radio and hearing Posse on Broadway really meant a lot to us. Like, wow, I think we kind of broke the East Coast now, getting love on Philadelphia, you know? I mean, Philadelphia? Yeah. But I tell you, Philadelphia was one of my favorite places because I used to watch on TV Dance Party USA, and I always wanted to meet this one dancer on there named Princess. Yeah, I even got a picture with her.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, mission accomplished. Now with Swass, of course you had the I'm a Trip EP that had come out before, but then with Swass, I know about a year after the release or so, it went gold and then it went platinum. How did that explosion change the whole environment of Seattle, of you, of Nasty Mix, of Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Well, it caught the attention of Yo MTV Raps, and we actually Yo MTV Raps and BET Rap City, and but Yo MTV Raps for sure, man. We flew up Fab Five Freddy and Ted Demi up to Seattle to film. They did a special on us on Yo MTV Raps, and that really put us on the map. You know, just to see us on the West Coast on Yo MTV Raps. I mean, to get on that show was like being at the Grammy or the Oscars and accepting an award. It felt like, wow, we're on Yo MTV Raps, and you know, that's Fab Five Freddy. You know, I think that really changed everything. So when the next album came out, Seminar, we just Mix-a-Lot did a song called Beepers, and that, man, everybody loved that song because everyone had a Sky Pager, almost everyone, but they had a Sky Pager, and then the song was about using a Sky Pager and using beepers, and that even took us even to a higher level. That one and a hoopty. He did a song called My Hoopty, and people can relate to hoopties because we were all broke back then driving hoopties, and we actually gave away a hoopty with on LA's KDAY radio, which went #1 on their station. And yeah, but I think being on Yo MTV Raps and our appearances, well, I don't know if Mix was on there, but I was on the appearance I was on one of the first Rap City shows back then with the mayor. He was a comedian.
Chris Thomas. Yeah,
Yeah, that guy. Yeah,
Chris Thomas. I did a lot of great interviews with him. There's a link to one of them. So yeah.
Is he still alive?
Oh
Chris
yeah,
Thomas?
he's the man. Chris Thomas is
Wow.
the man.
Yeah, he was a funny guy, man. And we even flew him out to Seattle too, and filmed a few BET Rap City specials with the mayor. The mayor, I remember just the mayor.
Yep, Chris Thomas the mayor. Shout out to him as always, and Tony Medley for connecting me with him again. So yes, but
Cool.
Nasty-Nes, another thing I was interested about too. The Swass album, I think, is obviously very popular, went platinum, but at the same time, the title track, people may or may not know or remember that Swass was used by the Pussycat Dolls for Don't Ya. CeeLo, when he wrote the song, used the Swass hook, or part of the hook, I should say, for the Pussycat Dolls song, which is one of the biggest songs in music history. So looking back, when you heard the Pussycat Dolls and that song became such a smash, like how did that make you feel when that was happening?
When that came out, it actually wasn't the Pussycat Dolls. It was I think her name was Tori Amos,
Well,
and,
they did two versions.
uh-huh.
There was another group that did it first, and then they resold the song later to the Pussycat Dolls, which then became the smash. So it
So
was really
it was the
it,
first one that I heard. And then I remember when the Pussycat Dolls came out with one, and at that time I really wasn't talking. Mix and I weren't really talking a lot anymore. We kind of went our own ways. But I had to tell him. I had to tell him. So I told his manager, "Go, hey man, I just heard Swass, but it's not Swass. Someone bid his record." And then so they did their thing and investigated, did their little research, and I tell you, that's probably one of the biggest blessings for Mix-a-Lot when the Pussycat Dolls did it, because I remember him sharing with me that he was so in debt with the IRS, which I know how that feels. Only difference is he was able to pay him off and get him off his back, and I'm still paying him off, But yeah, man, I tell you, when the Pussycat Dolls redid Swass, their own version called "Don't Ya," it was like bingo for Mix-a-Lot, man. He and that's what I'm saying. Knowing him from the projects to now, it's great to see that when you really believe in something and you have a passion for it, it'll happen. It will happen. It happened to him.
yeah.
Some of it happened to me. I accomplished quite a bit too. So you just can't give up. Just can't give up.
Absolutely. And that's one of the other things, and one of the many reasons I'm really glad we're talking to Nasty-Nes today is some of these other things that you did that people don't know as much about, like the Criminal Nation album that I always liked, Release the Pressure, uh,
Oh,
which that one was one of my favorite unknown Seattle albums from back in the day, or Nasty Mix at least. So, and I know you were one of the executive producers with Brett Carlson on there. So,
wow, you remember? Gosh, good
no,
memory.
no, when I got that album, because I like to mix a lot, I ended up trying to get, like we did with Def Jam and all the other labels. I was like, oh, what else does Nasty Mix have? And then when I saw Criminal Nation, I was like, oh, let me check these guys out. And I was like, man, this is great. So how did you get to be executive producer on the album, and how did you get with MC Def and all that?
Well, how that happened was, I had a rap show on K Fox Radio, and a friend of mine, she lives in Tacoma. She goes, "You need to check out this group called America's Most Wanted." That was their name at the time. And I go, "Okay, well, have them come by the station, put the song on a cassette tape. Let's play it on my show." So it was MC Def. He changed his name to Wojak, but MC Def and DJ Eugenius. And I played it on my show, and I go, "Wow, this is from Tacoma," because at that time we did have a group out of Tacoma which was making noise, a nasty mix called High Performance. But this Criminal Nation was gangster rap. It was like, I don't know, like the NWA for us. So I played it, and it was like amazing, the feedback. So Brett Carlson and we had our own label also called Cold Rock Records. We did a distribution deal with Nasty Mix Records, and you know what? Criminal Nation was just about to take off. Sway and Tech were playing it on the Wake Up Show. A lot of my DJs were showing me support, but then we ended up getting a distribution deal with Ichiban Records, but the label closed in 1992. So we never really got to really fully promote Criminal Nation. So it kind of died after that, and then they did their own thing. But so you're pretty much left with Release the Pressure. you know.
No, I mean the title track was really good. The Black Power Nation. I just
Oh yeah, Black Power. Oh, I love, and the video was great because one of my friends who was a huge fan of my show, um, and I gave him a nickname. I called him MC Skinhead because he looked like a skinhead, but he was one of the nicest guys ever, and he supported everything that I did and do. And so he ended up playing a part of the skinhead in the video Black Power Nation, where they're burning they're burning a cross, and they're trying to capture the skinhead guy to put him on the cross to burn him. But yeah, that one, Black Power Nation, was one of my favorite ones. But Release the Pressure for sure.
yeah, and we also have to mention, of course, which should have mentioned earlier, but to keep it chronological, but getting on Eazy-E's radio single, I also remember was awesome and hilarious all at the same time. So, and you had said you knew the Wrecking Crew from before, but how
Mhm.
did you get the opportunity to be on radio?
Well, Arabian Prince and I became really good friends because his dad was, I think, the editor for, I think it was BRE magazine. I can't remember what publication it was, but his dad would call me every week to ask me what records I added that week. And unfortunately, his dad passed away, he got sick. But I remember his dad saying, "Hey, you need to meet my son. He's in a rap group." And so I got to know Arabian Prince because I don't think he was on the Fresh Fest tour in London, but he was part of a group. He was telling me that there. I knew no, I knew him. I knew him through Bobby Jimmy and the Critters. That's what it was. That's how I got to really know him when they would perform in Seattle. And Bobby Jimmy and I we get along, but Arabian Prince and I just hit it off like we've known each other for years. And then he told me he's got this group coming out called NWA, and then he told me what the letter stood for, and I go, man, there's no way I can play this on my show by saying the name. He goes, yeah, that's why you just call him NWA. And so I was really, really one of the first DJs who took a chance to play NWA and Eazy-E on the radio, but I had to do my own edits. And back then, when I edited a song, I had to edit it on a reel to reel. So all you youngsters don't know what a reel to reel is. Google it, and I edited it on a reel to reel. And but I played a lot of the songs off that edit, and it became really huge on the show. And they came to perform in Seattle. MC Hammer even showed up and danced. He wasn't that known yet, and kind of like the rest is history. All their records sold out at our local record store called Music Menu. And then Arabian Prince was telling me about Eazy-E. He's going to have his own album. And he goes, hey, we got the song called Radio. I think you should be on it. And he goes, who, me? He goes, yeah, you and another guy by Greg Mack. I go, you talking about Greg Mack from K-Day? He goes, yeah. You sure you want me? And that's how it happened, and back then, I didn't really know who Eazy-E was. Um, so I did it for free. Originally, I was supposed to go to LA and record it in the studio, but I was on the road with Mix-a-Lot doing shows, and he goes, "Okay, well, I tell you what." Dre said, "Why don't you just in your hotel? Here's the phone number. Call this number, and here's the lines. We want you to say these lines, and we're going to record it on our recorder." And I go, "You sure that's all you want me to do?" He goes, "Yeah." So I did that. And then he told me how it turned out. He goes, it turned out really good. And I go, wow, where in the song am I? He goes, you're at the ending. And I go, oh man, ain't no one gonna listen for the endings. Ah, but goes, eh. But he goes, man, trust me, that's gonna be the biggest part of the song is the ending. So I'm at the ending with Dr. Dre.
No, that was definitely a very memorable part. One of the more memorable endings of any song I've ever heard. So I'd say it worked out well for you.
Yeah, I wish I would. I wish I would have gotten paid for it, not knowing that Eazy was going to pass away, a humongous living legend. But it's just an honor just to have been on the song and be a part of a historic figure like Eazy-E.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.